So last night I spent a couple hours trying to get this belt situation, the idler pulley, under control. We saw the engine block boss was snapped off, that bracket was welded not quite correctly, the threads are stripped out, whatever was remaining of them, so kind of a mess. So here's what I came up with. See there on the idler pulley, I installed a longer bolt and I had to space it out because it was hitting the, it was going through the hole and hitting the backside of whatever's behind it. But the bolt itself, here's the original bolt. And what thread is it? Well, it almost matches up to an M10 by 1.5, but it's not. It's a little thinner. You see that? So I actually tapped the hole, M10 by 1.5, and you can see that nut screws on there nicely, but on this one, it kind of screws on, but it's all loose. So basically, replaced the bolt with a little bigger size, tapped it, and it seems to be happy. It's holding. I torqued it down. The pulley is now nice and aligned with everything else. Put the old belt back on, start it up, and it's not shredding anything, it's not slipping off. Everything seems to be happy. So we do have to put on a new belt, but I think that will, that's the solution for the idler pulley. Now what do we have left to do? Air conditioning, we got to recharge that. We'll scan it for codes, take it for a test drive, put a new belt on. So we're getting close. We'll keep going until this thing is done. Oh, and also I replaced this coolant hose because this one, for some reason, split, had a hole right in the side. It was like this. So, no idea what that's all about, but it's not going to leak coolant anymore. So I'll start it up, see how it runs. Alright, let's turn the key on. So the oil change is done. I want to reset the oil change message. So we have change engine oil. Is that it? So let's see how to do that. On All Data we actually have a procedure. Press the range button until oil life index is displayed. So range, see 0 oil life index, okay. Press the average speed and range buttons until the display resets to 100. Average speed and range. Oil life index. Sweet. 251 miles range. Okay, great. Now I want to read the trouble code, so off and warm. There we go. P023 history. P030 history. B448, B552, no lighting codes, R025, R026, R033, R034, no TCS codes, S044, S062, PCM, PCM data, PCM inputs, PCM outputs, PCM override, PCM clear codes, PCM snapshot, PCM data. So let me write down those codes and then we'll go from there. Alright, let's look up the PCM codes. So P023 ignition control circuit problem. And it says, is code P035 set also? No, we have P030. Let me open up P030. That one right there. Idle speed control, RPM out of range. Cruise control. Okay, so some weird stuff. Idle speed stable, replace idle control valve, retest. Interesting. Okay, so we'll diagnose those if the customer wants. I assume he does. And the last thing, last night I noticed that the high beams weren't flashing. So you can turn the lights on, no high beam action at all. There's no click. So something might be broken in the switch. But yeah, let's just run it and see how it runs. We'll take it on a test drive later. All right, well, let's fire it up. Make sure our belt is happy. Looks centered on the idler, which is nice. It's in the right groove. So that's good. I like that. Now the fan here, for some reason, takes a while to kick in, and once it does, I think we'll get a message for the air conditioning not working. Yeah, this car is like too smart for its own good. Like right now I say hi fan, blower's not working. But last night, after I ran it for a few minutes, it did kick in. There we go, the fan kicked in. If we go to auto, dial down the temperature. Yesterday it was saying that the AC wasn't kicking in. Should we take it for a test drive? I guess we could. Oh, there we go. AC compressor off, low AC refrigerant. So there's that message. So if you go to auto, it won't let you go to auto. So we'll do that. Air conditioning, evacuate and recharge. Hopefully get rid of that. Sure enough, I'm fiddling with the switch. There you go, high beam. So you have to kind of do this. So lights off. So definitely a switch problem in the column, because this thing's all loose. So we'll tell that to the owner. Hopefully fix that up in the next segment. So let's finally take this 93 Cadillac Allante for a test drive. It's been days, weeks, still haven't test driven this thing. So I'm pretty excited. I want to clear out the trouble codes in the PCM. PCM codes clear. PCM snapshot, no. So, turn the key off, reset the system. And then after the test drive, we'll make sure that the old belt hasn't skipped any teeth or anything. We'll install the new belt, recharge the air conditioner, fiddle around with this high beam switch, and a couple other minor things. Hopefully we can get this car back on the road soon so the owner can pick it up and enjoy it. Monitor system's okay. Let's take this baby for a cruise. The rain last night, it rained pretty good, so no dust, no mud on the lane. Just the way we like it. Don't want to get this car dirty or anything. So coming down the gravel lane here, this thing feels like the suspension's pretty tight and the steering wheel's heavy, so kind of a sporty touring car feel. And why couldn't they make separate turn signal indicators? This is like Russian style. Just get one bulb for a $60,000 car. Let's try out the cruise control. Oh, look, cruise. That works. Cool. Speeds up. Yeah, it drives pretty nicely. No complaints. So we'll take it around the block and then install that new belt, charge up the air conditioning system. Here we go. What's going on now? I'm just coasting, foot off the gas. So you coast again. What was that all about? So I wonder if it's stored a code. No, it seems to be happy. Interesting. So, history code is stored, P023. Let's look at the snapshot. It's kind of like a freeze frame. Let's see if that has anything useful for us. Data. Sure. Minus 1.3 TPS. KPA map. 94 coolant. 14 battery volts. 1200 RPM. 37 miles per hour. 14 is ignition voltage. What is fault A, B, C, D? I have no idea what that is. EFGH. Feedback. And back to TPS. Okay. So then we have inputs. Cruise control, brake. Torque converter, TCC. I'm not sure what that is. Throttle. Park neutral. So that's cruise control stuff. Power steering switch. Back to that, okay. Take PCM snapshot, no. Let me clear out all the other codes and then we'll look up this 023, I don't know if it's just quirky. Alright, so the only code stored now in history is the P023. No BCM codes, no lighting codes, no airbag codes, no traction control system codes, no RTD, I think that's a suspension system. So yeah, let's get this new belt on here. Alright, the belt looks like it's still in the same place on all the pulleys. So our idler is doing its thing. Let's throw a new belt on here and charge up the air conditioning compressor. So you might ask, why are we charging the AC by the horse stalls? Well, I figured it's November, so it's time to put the AC machine away because who uses the AC in November? But let's get it done anyways. So there's basically no charge in the system, so we're going to recover first. Low recover pressure, check conditions, recover anyway, yes. So we'll vacuum it down, recharge it, and then we'll check for leaks. Alright, so obviously it says it recovered 0 pounds. So now we're going to charge. And the sticker here says R12, 1 kilogram or 2.25 pounds. But for R134, which obviously this has been converted, it has the adapters on there, it's been recharged with R134 before, the capacity is actually 10 to 20% less. So I'm going to put in 2 pounds instead of 2.25. So let's dial that in. £2. Okay. We're going to do both. Start. So you only charged 0.7 because it's not very warm outside, so the pressures are not enough to charge it, so we'll have to start the car. We'll close off this one. And just charge the rest through the low side while running the AC. We'll just dial it down to minimum. Okay, heard the AC compressor kick on. Now we're charging. £1. There it goes. Pressure's dropping, it's sucking in the refrigerant. It's just going to top it off automatically. Okay. Start to equalize hoses. Disconnect high side hose, I already did that. Okay. So now it's going to purge the hoses and suck the rest of the refrigerant into the car. And we're almost done. Disconnect low side hose. Okay. Now we'll just clear the rest out of the hoses and we should be done. Let's see if it's cooling. Alright, we're getting nice cold air. I think the customer will be happy with that. And I think we'll, once it's in the shop, I want to take the sniffer and just sniff around. Make sure there's no substantial leaks, because last time it was charged was a year and a half ago and it leaked everything out, so there could be a significant leak. So I've checked all the connections, cannot find any substantial leaks along the AC line. So I think we're just gonna have to tell the owner, you know, drive it, use it. If it gets low, recharge it. I know they already put some dye in last year. I didn't see any dye. Now here's the condenser up here. So I think we're done with the AC system. Alright, next up, the high beams on this turn signal switch. So I looked up the OEM procedures to take this thing apart. You have to tear apart the entire steering column. I mean, you know, steering wheel, you need pullers. It is ridiculous. It's like a 2-hour job just to get this turn signal switch out. And well, we know that the problem's in the switch, because if we tweak it, we can make the high beams come on. Is there a simple, elegant solution that we can just implement in 5 minutes? Well, I tried putting in a little piece of high density foam to keep the stock depressed that way. So now, when I just, you know, do the normal operation, check it out. Now, I don't know if that's a long-term solution. I have to double up that foam because, you know, it'll kind of compress with time. but I want to do something like this instead of tearing the entire thing apart. And even if we get to it, you know, if it's broken, where do you get a spare? It's just not, you know, not worth the time or money for that. Alright, I put in a little thicker piece of foam right there. Seems to be working pretty reliably. High beam, low beam. High beam, low beam. And this is just flash. So I think we'll just leave it at that. So I think I found the air conditioning leak. So under here we have the compressor. You guys hear that? Kind of like a little buzzing. Well, that's refrigerant leaking out. And using our sniffer, let's see if I can get a shot of this. See right there. Right where the lines meet the compressor, there it is. So it has to be those O-rings on the back leaking refrigerant. That's a pain in the butt. How do you even get to that? Oh man, that would be impossible to reach with a wrench. This thing is so packed, it's ridiculous. Can you take the oil filter housing off? Then I guess you could reach it. We have oil cooler lines, we have AC lines, we have transmission cooler lines, we have power steering lines. But at least we found the leak, so I'll talk to the customer, see what they want to do. Alright, we got the refrigerant recovered. I snuck in there with a 15mm and undid the manifold and got the seals off the compressor. Here they are. These are strange. I mean, this one's, you know, regular, like a rubberized washer. But this one, it's orange, it's kind of thick, and it's cracked. I've never seen a seal like this before. I don't know why it's different than this one. Because the compressor has like an inset. How can we fix this? That's my question. Because, you know, it was leaking right here, right where it's cracked, I'm sure. As the rubber got compressed, but the metal doesn't, you know, you can't just keep tightening it. So we need a pair of seals.